Well, good morning to you. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Sam.
How's everything going?
It's going well. It's just February here.
Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be 67 degrees here, so don't get mad at me.
Oh gosh.
Isn't it funny how weather is the first thing that comes up at the very beginning of any webinar? Like that's,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
Hey,
believe
go
it.
Eagles.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we don't offend anybody on the call, and I won't tell my fellow Cowboys fans, but yeah, I was go Birds go. Man, we got a great group this morning. We made it to episode 4, the finale of season 1 of the AI empowered title agent. I can't believe it.
I know it went really fast, but I'm hoping everyone has enjoyed it so far, and hopefully this last one can be some good info too.
Absolutely. Man, we got a bunch of people hopping on today. Okay. Hey Amelia, how you doing? Got a great list here. So I'll give it just another couple seconds. Andy's in Kale. Hey Casey. Good morning, all. Hey John, how are you? All right. Looks like we've kind of settled out. Good number here. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this. My man, Walt, how you doing? Thank you guys so much for being a part of season 1 of the AI Empowered Title Agent. When we started this process, we really were kind of thinking about what we could do to bring actionable artificial intelligence to our industry. A lot of the things that we were seeing, many are applicable, some were not. And so our goal throughout season 1 of the AI empowered title agent was to bring things that would be applicable to a title agent, not just kind of general things, but things that we could use in our day-to-day lives. So thank you all so much for joining us again. Welcome back. Let me move this over here. And we're excited to dive in to one of my most kind of favorite things is what we're going to be covering today. So again, thank you so much for being a part of the first 3 episodes. Welcome to episode 4. We're excited to jump into talent development and human resources. Ashley's going to cover some of the HR stuff because she's smarter than I am, and I'm going to cover some of the talent development things. But we hope you've gotten a lot out of this series so far. We're excited for what's to come, and why don't we go ahead and kick it off, Ashley?
Yeah, so we always like to give you guys a little quote to start off the presentation. So this one's from Microsoft's chairman and CEO. AI will free up human time and energy by automating routine tasks, allowing us to focus on more creative and meaningful work. So I think that couldn't be more true. And that's, as Sam was saying, our goal with this is to give you guys more time back to focus on more of those growth opportunities for your business. So hopefully some of these routine or somewhat painful tasks sometimes could be helped with some of the AI tools we've shared and some more that you'll see today. So what we've done so far, we kicked it off with sales, I think back in October. We did operations and customer experience in November. You just saw marketing last month in January. And so today we have 2 more left to kind of round out our series.
Yeah, and we're going to touch back on where to find all these things. We're excited to have built kind of a suite of resources, and here's what we've done when it comes to that. Obviously, this is the 4th part of the series, but if you haven't been to the website, aiempoweredtitleagent.com, we'll show you the password again at the end today. It is password protected. It is absolutely exclusive to our FNF agents, so thank you for being here. But included on that website is a lot of how-to guides, broken up from some of these webinars and other outside things. We're building some testimonials from your fellow title agents on how they're using some of these tools and where they're finding success. And then there's a lot of other resources there, some blogs, some little micro content to be able to help guide you through this process. And know that where we started has actually changed. So if you saw the first version of this one pager, it's actually different now because things are changing pretty much every day. That's one of my favorite things when people come up to me and they say, "Oh, Sam, I feel like I'm so far behind on this AI stuff." And my pushback on that is that literally all of us are behind because it's changing every single day. And so a lot of these things are new and a little bit different. When you go to the website, you'll find this broken out. And when you click on this Learn More button, you can see some micro content that we've developed as a part of your strategic growth team here at FNF to help kind of guide you through how to use this stuff, where it might be applicable in your business. So we hope you find it useful. These have definitely changed. The 12 or the 16, I guess, here There are certainly different ones, but there's going to be more added to that website. So we hope to kick off season 2 in the months to come. But in the meantime, there's a lot of resources there that you are welcome to use. And ping us if you have questions, comments. If you've had experience with something that you think is really cool, we would love to learn about that. So with that, we'll go ahead and get kicked off. As you know, one of my favorite things to work on is effective communication. So Udly is a tool that is meant to grow your and your team's communication skills. I think this one is interesting because I noticed recently that some of our largest companies across the globe and in the United States are using this to train their teams on how to be more effective communicators. The fun thing about something like this, an AI-driven communication kind of enhancement tool, is sometimes I know for me, if I give a presentation and someone comes up and gives me some feedback, although they're just trying to help, there's almost a little bit of it's emotional, right? I feel like, oh my gosh, like they hated the way I presented something or the way I said something. The cool thing about this is it's taking the emotion out of it. So whether you're working with your sales team, your HR team, your underwriting team, whoever it might be, to be able to have an AI-driven feedback loop for their communication is a lot easier than kind of the emotionally driven person-to-person feedback that we sometimes give. So I want to show you a little bit about Udly. So it's meant to help you become more effective in communicating in a bunch of different ways, whether it's presentations, cold calls, general sales meetings. And the cool thing about it is you can pick what you're trying to do, right? So I'm trying to close more deals. I'm going to give an upcoming speech or presentation I'm a little nervous about, and the mirror is not giving me feedback when I do that, right? Maybe you're preparing for some type of an interview, or maybe you're a communication coach trying to coach your team. You get to role play with an AI avatar. And the fun thing about it is, and I'm going to show you some in a minute, you can pick personas. So this avatar will actually communicate with you back and forth in real time and then provide a feedback loop for you. So, and you can see in this one, the persona for this one is somebody that's head of sales. We're trying to build rapport, identify one of their pain points, and then hit our talking points. But the cool thing is you can actually select the type of personality you're going to communicate with. We've all had a meeting with someone that's super flamboyant, easy to talk to, very casual, lots of fun. But we've also had someone like Kevin here. You can even see by his avatar. Kevin is a serious dude. So if somebody that's a little blunt, maybe curious, again, the friendly, here's a CEO persona, somebody that's very assertive. It's kind of interesting when I've done it with the blunt one, because we've all had those meetings where it seems like nothing we're saying is getting through. They're just kind of blank staring. They're not excited to be talking to us. So you can really prepare for every type of call that you may end up having. For sales, the fun thing is it kind of gives you things as suggestions moving forward. So this was one that I did with this head of sales, kind of assertive personality. And they asked me a few questions that I was prepared for, but not super. And so they said, hey, my strength, I started with small talk, probably talked about weather, maybe talked about the Eagles a little bit. But it gave me some areas that I could grow in this one-on-one meeting. Next time, mention a couple unique selling points of our product, illustrate how it can offer benefits over competitors. So it's telling me I needed to tighten up my pitch just a little bit and deliver impact based on that. And for presentations, it's really kind of fun. And this was kind of a little bit of a come to Jesus moment for me because it gave me all kinds of feedback that I'll show you in just a second. But I did this, I recorded myself giving a presentation, and it talked about my demeanor. It said I was enthusiastic, I was articulate, I wasn't quite as curious. My pacing was okay, which is good. Normally I speak a little too fast. I get a little excited, have a little extra coffee before some of my meetings. I could improve my conscientiousness. That wasn't my high point. Eye contact. I looked at the camera. I made eye contact with the audience, and that was good. And the cool thing is, it gives you some ideas for questions that my audience might ask, so that you can be prepared ahead of time how to field some of those questions. And it's just really kind of an interesting thing. And for me, one of my biggest concerns using something like this is it's going to feel awkward. Is there going to be like big delays where it doesn't feel real? They have really tuned in to make it very interactive, and it's in real time, and there is no lag. The lag is very, very low. So if you're worried about that, don't worry about it. I wanted to give you some insight to some of my speaking insights. So this is a little embarrassing, but this is what it gave me back. I provided clear and actionable points. My introduction could be more engaging, right? I didn't start off with a great introduction in this. And I should have started with a question. A lot of great presentations that you attend, one of the first things they do is provide some kind of like existential or 30,000-foot question that then allows them to answer that question during the presentation. I didn't do that. And then it gave me a few follow-up questions, right? Can you elaborate on how you prioritize tasks and manage your time when working such long hours? So that was kind of cool. The coaching part, this is the part where you're taking the emotion out of speech coaching. If anyone's ever done Toastmasters or anything like that, you'll notice in the room when it gets really awkward is when we start giving each other feedback. It gets emotional. You kind of feel attacked, right? This is an AI bot giving me this. There is no emotion behind it, and so it's a lot easier to take that kind of criticism than it is from another human. So in this way, it's telling me what went well. Repetition, I had 51 repetitions, and it broke down my filler words. Like, and I'm surprised it only caught one, because I tend to say that kind of a lot. And then it broke down my weak words. What are kind of my crutch words? And it gave me a few things on what I could start off. And you notice I just said, it gave me a few things that I could get better at. And it noticed that 27% of the time I was starting my sentence with the word. So that's something I really, really need to work on. But again, the cool thing here is you can go through the coaching tab or the analytics tab and see what you're doing right and maybe some areas for improvement. So again, whether you're trying to do a cold call with a real estate agent, a lender, an attorney, whoever it might be, or whether you're prepping for a presentation at a local BNI group or maybe to a group of realtors, this is a great place to do it ahead of time and get real-time accurate feedback on how we can improve. Companies like Google, many large companies like Meta are using this for their sales staff and their training staff to help them just improve in their communication skills. That's one of the interesting things about AI. There are a lot of jobs, administrative, data entry, and things like that, that will absolutely be enhanced and streamlined using AI. The one thing AI will never be able to take away from us is the human connection. How do we create human connection? Through effective communication. So to me, this is a really, really cool tool. It's very affordable. You could actually do some for free, and I'll show you the pricing in just a second. Some of the tools that are kind of different from those that are kind of fun, they're like little brain teasers almost, are these four. So the first one is Metaphor Mania. So it'll give you a few different metaphors to use in speaking, and it'll grade you on how well you use those things. The Spin a Yarn one is kind of fun. It'll throw in plot twists, ask interesting questions, totally try to throw you off and see how you're able to stay on point and keep the meeting moving forward. The filler one, I am not very good at, but I'm trying to get better. This is meant to help you remove those filler words from your language. You'll see some of the most effective communicators out there. If you watch, Seth Godin or somebody like that, they typically have little to no filler words. There may be a slight pause, but they're not saying they're not saying like, they're not saying so, which is one of mine. I always start sentences with so. And then another one that's still kind of in beta, but it's kind of fun. It'll help you structure and critique you on your storytelling ability. The way we create human connection is not just effective communication, it's also through stories. Those are the things that bind us together as humans. And so the storyteller challenge is a really fun one too. So I've nerded out on this a lot. If it's free, it's para me. There is a free one where you can do up to 5 scenarios that you'd like without having to pay. Little pro tip, if you delete one of the scenarios afterwards, it doesn't count against your 5. So you can kind of keep going for quite a while. Just saying. The pro account is $8. The advanced, which includes unlimited and a couple other seats, is $20 a month. So this is super affordable. Head over to udly.ai to check it out. I would definitely say when we first talked about this internally, a bunch of us, even from our leadership team, started hopping on and working on one-on-one meetings. This is a great way to prepare for difficult conversations, all the way from difficult to easy, and especially the presentation piece. Really neat way to get some feedback without the emotion. So udly.ai, really cool tool. Check it out.
I think that one's great because I don't know, people hate public speaking. I hate public speaking. So if you can get sort of that, easy feedback, not from a person maybe, then maybe that would really help you. So that was a really cool one, Sam.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, so Scribe is next. So this is going to be more of the HR world. Essentially what Scribe is, and I use this very frequently with our internal teams as well, but you can basically go through any process or find any tool on a website and it will document steps for you and then have screenshots and descriptions of exactly how you got to that resource. So as this says, it's designed to document processes and turn them into tangible guides. So if you get questions frequently from staff about where to find something or how to do something, or if you want to cross-train staff on a certain task, this is going to be a really great tool for you. You can share the finished product through either a PDF or just a link, depending on which version you have, which I'll go through in a bit. And the extension for it is added right to your browser. So it's not like a separate thing you have to download or anything, but once you sign up, it goes right onto your web browser. So anything once you start it, anything you click is automatically going to be recorded within the guides.
Yeah, what a valuable thing. I mean, one of the things I think about most that I know I failed at as a title agent was cross-training. You know, it wasn't until somebody was out with an unexpected illness or something like that that we realized, oh my gosh, this person is the only person that knows how to do this. So to be able to simply create process and procedure guides, big deal.
For sure, for sure. So these are some of the examples of what the features are. So the AI content generation, that's basically, it's creating the descriptions of what you're clicking and sort of titling your guide for you based on what you went through. The documents are fully customizable. So if you want to add your branding, if you want to change something that it might not have picked up correctly, you can totally edit anything that it puts together. If you maybe, for example, are going through an actual file and showing how to do something within that file and there's confidential data in there, it knows to automatically redact that. It basically blurs it out for you. But you could also manually do that if it did happen to miss something. It is collaborative, so you can have multiple people on your team that could be working on these guides together. It's very easy if something were to change in the future, if the software changed or whatever tool or resource you're showing, something, a step change, it's very easy to just switch it out rather than fully create it from scratch again. And it even does have a use case gallery for examples of different industries that are using this and how you can create it. So just some applications specifically for title agents and attorneys. I think this could be great for onboarding materials, whether it be, you know, how to do your hours, if you have to log your hours somewhere, any sort of new hire materials, insurance information that you have to kind of click through and sign. You could easily create some guides on how to get all that initial paperwork filled out. Again, cross-training on various functions. So maybe it's navigating a software integration, entering files, ordering a title search, anything that's going on in your day-to-day process that you would want multiple people to be able to know how to do or easily information share. And again, you can make user manuals, technical guides, or any sort of like FAQ related documents. So I think on the next slide, I have an example. So this is just going through our website and finding one of our underwriting guide resources. So you can see each of these is a screenshot of what it picked up just by me clicking on our website. So it shows me going to the URL, logging in, getting to the resource, entering a search term, and you can see it numbers the steps and tells you what that step is actually saying. So I'm choosing a category to look at more information on.
So the copy here at the top, is this created automatically or?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think I did like very minimal edits, but for the most part, it picked up everything based on the words on screen. And then I'm just walking through that there's a video, there's a definition, there's some related topics and PDFs that can be downloaded. So this is a great way for me to show either a customer or one of our internal team members how to access this tool, where exactly to go and what you can do with it. So again, this is a mostly free tool. You can do up to 10 guides for free. And then it will prompt you for the $12 a month pro access. But you know, if you want to sort of pinpoint 10 things that you want to make sure are available for your whole team, you probably could get away with the free version. I definitely suggest checking it out. And once you start looking into it, you'll probably get all the sponsored Instagram and Facebook reels, and they're pretty funny with the teams being excited about using Scribe. So you might see those too.
Love it. Okay, so I had teased out ahead of time something that I just thought was mind-blowing, and this is it. It's called Notebook LM. It is a product that's been developed by Google. It just recently came out of beta and is still 100% free, which is kind of fun. But I've talked before about closed loop GPTs, right? So large language models that you train with your information and it doesn't draw information from anywhere else, just exclusively what you train it on. So I want to give you a look under the hood, and then we're going to try to do something kind of fun live, and hopefully it works. So Notebook LM, AI-powered research assistant is what they're calling it. They can really help you get kind of critical insights and answer questions based on your information, only the information that you provide. So think of a chat GPT that you have trained that doesn't get anything from anywhere else. I've got asked recently about Notebook, how does this compare to Gemini or OpenAI, ChatGPT, or whatever? This is something that you're feeding exclusively. So it is not drawing information from outside resources, only from what you feed this GPT, which all the others will draw outside information. So it starts as simple as this. You upload your sources, and I'm going to show you an example in just a second. You can upload things directly from Google, of course. It's a Google product, so it loves that. But you can also put in PDFs, text documents, audio. So you could upload potentially the audio from different trainings, from different videos that you've done, from podcast if you wanted to. You can feed it parts of your website if you wanted to, or if there's an update coming down the pike from the state Department of Insurance or anything like that, any YouTube video. And you can also, of course, just put in basic text. So those are the ways that you can feed it with exactly what you want. And then, based on that, you'll draw information straight out of it. So I want to give you a couple examples here. I recently did a presentation on the book Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. If you haven't read that book, I hope we talk about it more as a team moving forward. A lot of our teams are working on this right now. So I use this as an example. So I went in, I pasted a bunch of text from a bunch of resources about the book, about the idea behind unreasonable hospitality, what it means to reimagine your customer experience. I even included some YouTube videos that Will Guidara, the author of the book, had done, several of them. It automatically draws all the information from those, uploaded a couple PDFs, uploaded a couple presentations, and I put these 9 resources in, and it gave me this quick breakdown. So right here in the start typing, I can now ask it any question. I could ask if something fits into this, something that we're doing. I could ask for ideas in the title insurance industry when we're dealing with realtors, lenders, and real estate attorneys. How is it that we could perform the best possible unreasonable hospitality? You could do pretty much anything you want, but you'll see these things here that are really cool. So I want to kind of show you some of the things that it can do. One thing that I think is really awesome, based on that data, it will create a study guide, which is basically a quiz and then an answer key. I think back to college, this would have been unbelievable for me. But also, if you're rolling out some new process and procedures, there's some new regulatory compliance, rate adjustments, whatever it is that are coming out, this is a great way to be able to really easily, with one click, create a study guide for your team. Kind of a fun thing to go through as a group. But I love the fact that it provides the answers as well. And so that stuff was really pertinent. The briefing document is a breakdown of the entire theory or whatever it is that you're going through. And it did a really good job here. It creates an intro. What are the core concepts? What are the key principles and practices, the main takeaways? And it's kind of eerie how accurate this stuff is. It's unbelievable. And again, a briefing document or kind of a FAQ sheet on what unreasonable hospitality is. If I had to sit down and create this myself, or say it was on a new process for your company, or something like that, it would take quite a bit of time. This took about 3 seconds to create. And another kind of cool feature is the timeline. So it actually took all of the book and all of the interviews and gave a timeline of this process, how he went from early life to a restaurateur to creating the #1 restaurant in the world based on incredible customer experience. So the timeline thing is pretty cool, and it's amazing how thorough it is. But something that is really interesting to me is there's a reason why long form media, in other words, podcasts, have become so popular. We all learn very, very differently. So some of us learn visually, some of us are great at reading. If you're like me, I talk about how I read like 20 books last year. Little hint, most of them were audiobooks, right? And I actually retain it better that way. I don't squirrel out as much as when I'm trying to read a book and I stop paying attention. And we've all read a couple pages of some document that we're not super interested in and we have a hard time retaining it. We technically retain 10 or less percent of the written word. So I wanted to show you a way to learn and teach from long conversations. And this is something that hopefully this works. I'm going to hop over live to Unreasonable Hospitality. So this is what it looks like, the platform itself. Here's the study guide, the briefing doc, the timeline, FAQs. But it actually gives you a chance to create a podcast. And so it takes two AI chatbots and it basically turns them into voices. And you can select the different type of voices. So say you had something you really wanted to train your team on, but you know maybe they're not going to read a 50-page briefing document. But if there was maybe a 27-minute podcast, they would read it. So what it's done here is taken all the information that I've uploaded into this closed chat loop, closed large language model, and it's turned it into a podcast. And let's take a look for just a second about how it
All
sounds.
right, get ready to dive deep into unreasonable hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
We've got articles, research, even a YouTube video, all about this idea.
That's right.
And it's taking the business world by storm.
It is.
And no, it's not just for fancy restaurants,
Right.
though that's where it kind of got its start.
It did, yeah. The concept comes from Will Guidara,
Okay.
the former general manager of 11 Madison Park.
So this is a 27-minute long podcast of two humans talking that are not humans and doesn't exist. I wanted to try this interactive mode live, but because of the microphone on Zoom and stuff, it won't work. But one of the craziest parts about this is if I click this interactive mode, I can then call into this podcast, ask questions, make comments, ask how this would apply to the title industry when our clients are realtors and lenders, and it will actually give me live feedback based on that data in real time. It is insane. So I'm just thinking as a title agent, all the things that I could do with this. Everybody learns different. Everybody digests information different. A lot of people aren't going to sit and read all of my things that I send out, my new process and procedures and new handbooks and all that. But there's a good chance they would sit down and in the car on the way home or at their computer, play this podcast. And again, you can share this podcast. So if you wanted to, if you have a podcast going on and maybe you're getting a little nervous about recording and things like that, you could actually create this podcast based on whatever it is you're trying to get out. You could call into it, chime in personally, so it's your voice, but not have to host the whole thing. And then you can actually share this podcast. You can share it. It goes out in MP3 format. You could actually upload it to podcast websites if you wanted to. So it's kind of creepy to think about some of the podcasts we're listening to may not necessarily be like actual humans, but they're getting the point across in a really, really effective way. So Notebook LM is what this is called. It's one of my favorite new tools. I'm just absolutely mind blown every time I use it. And like I said, right now it's totally free. And this is how you get to it. Notebooklm.google is how you get to it. Incredible tool. I think this is the future of what we'll be doing a lot. I've talked about second brains in the past, which is your closed loop, personalized ChatGPT or large language model. This is a way to create one of those super simply, super easily, totally closed loop. And the only people that will have access to it are the people that you invite to have access to it. So if you're a nerd like me, you probably think that's kind of cool. I know I do. So I'm excited to hear some of your use cases when you guys start to dive in just a little bit.
Yeah, that one is pretty awesome, especially that interactive podcast feature. We've played around with that a little bit as our internal team, and it's just insane. Like they totally adjust what they're saying based on what you put in there. So the podcast could be different every time, depending who's participating. So
Cool.
that one is very cool for sure. All right, so our last one in our main part of our presentation is going to be SC training. So that stands for safety culture training. So like Sam was saying, everyone does learn differently. So this one is a really cool one. If someone's not going to read a full-on handbook or one of the guides I was talking about with Scribe, you can actually create training videos for them as well, very, very easily. So we get questions a lot from title agents about training materials for their teams to all get on the same page about certain things. And this is a great way to create that in-house. So you can create bite-sized training courses on any topic that you want. There are a couple different ways that you can do it, but there's really not much research or brainstorm needed. So we can go to the next slide. So these are the couple things that it does. You can onboard new team members, create a digital training experience for them. So you can actually assign certain courses to certain employees with a timeline, make them mandatory or make them optional. You can actually assess their knowledge by adding quiz questions to those courses as well. You can see all of their performances and completion dates and everything tracked on some analytics for you, and you can even award some certificates based on completion. I think I have some examples on the next. So this is an example of one of the ways that you can create videos, which is by prompting it with text. So I believe this one will go through a simple question. So you can see create with AI, and you can just text it. So this one is, what is a general warranty deed? And you can see that once you put that in, it pretty quickly will create a short video for whoever on your team needs to know that information. It's very basic. It's a very short video. Definitions, the basic things that are needed to be known, some screenshots, has a little quiz there. This is going through quickly. I have another video on the next one that's a little slower. But again, it's just a quick way for you to give bite-sized pieces of information to your team, depending what is most important for you to have them learn about and know about as a group. This one was pretty cool. So the other way, instead of texting or prompting it with text, you can actually take a picture of a flyer or piece of information. So this is one of our flyers on wire fraud and preventing mortgage payoff wire fraud specifically. So I literally took a picture of this flyer and uploaded it into this tool, and it created this mini course on all the things that your team needs to remember to avoid having mortgage payoff wire fraud, including questions at the end of what should be done if you can't verify instructions. So we're going to answer here, issue a check or send it via overnight mail. Tells you it's correct. It even asks, what should you do to continue your knowledge, utilize resources from your favorite underwriters at F&F. Tells you that's correct too. So I think this one's really cool because if you have materials already created that are in written form, simply just take a picture and it's going to create those videos in a matter of a minute or so, really. And then you can kind of decide who it's mandatory for, who is optional. And you can set, if it's due in 30 days, due in 10 days. It's all on there for you. So this is really cool.
I could see it being awesome to help train clients too,
yeah.
Right? Like to send something like this to your real estate agents and say, hey, take the quiz. Are you covered? Right? Like that's
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So anything like that. And you're free to use any of our marketing flyers that we have on Title 101 types of things, if that would help your team. Any of our wire fraud materials. I know that's always something you want everyone to be up to date on. And if you have a small business, this is going to be totally free for you because for up to 10 learners, it's always free, unlimited videos. They also have I think it's 1,000 plus of pre-made videos. So there's some leadership and sales courses that might be of interest to have your team watch. But if you do have more than 10 people on your team, $5 per learner per month. So this is a really affordable one that could be some great training resources for you and your team to get on board with. And that is the QR code for that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so nuts. I mean, you enter that one flyer and it breaks it down into a course with a quiz and help there's no excuse for people not to be knowledgeable on some of the most basic things like that. The wire fraud was the perfect example, right? I mean,
yep.
I love it. And how
so that one, I think it definitely seemed like the photo option was better because it was a little bit tricky to prompt it with text. So if you're going to use it, I would say use the photo mostly.
Cool.
But it picked it up.
It's about eightfold.
Yeah, so this is just a quick bonus tool. So for anyone that's doing a lot of recruiting, for new employees, I don't know if I would use this if you're just looking for someone every once in a while, but if you're recruiting on a regular basis to fill spots on your team, this is basically an AI job board for you. So it will pair your job openings with the most qualified candidates that have applied. It's going to filter them for you right on the job board by experience, their availability, or maybe their salary requirements. And you can easily just kind of go through and very easily see who it makes the most sense to interview based on what it's pulled out for you. And I believe it'll even help you tailor your job descriptions too, to make them more appealing to candidates. So it might just be one to check out if you are regularly recruiting for your team.
Awesome. Love that. One of the things that I've been talking about a lot lately, and if you haven't heard of it yet, you're going to start hearing about it a lot more, and that is AI agents or AI agency. So the traditional large language model, you prompt, right? You go in and you ask it to do something, or you ask it, for some information, or to kind of put simplified data or whatever it is, a marketing plan, whatever. But you have to prompt it to do those things. The difference between that and an AI agent is an AI agent is basically like a artificially intelligence generated bot that will go do complete tasks for you. And so there's a lot of companies doing this. Google Gemini is doing it. OpenAI is absolutely doing it. So this is an OpenAI product now, and it is called ChatGPT OpenAI Operator is the name that they've given this. And they've gone through a bunch of iterations. But for example here, rather than saying like, what would be a great one-day tour of Rome, which is something maybe you would ask it. In this case, it says, find and book the highest rated one-day tour of Rome on TripAdvisor. This AI agent will now go out into the internet, find the best possible tour, and then book it on your behalf. So kind of like a travel agent or something like that. So there's a few different there's several different possibilities here, but some that they have right off the bat: dining and events, delivery, local services, shopping, travel, news. These are the things that will be the future of automating tasks for us in this business, right? So we're not necessarily quite there yet. Now you're still talking to somebody about creating bots and things like that, which can be quite expensive, but super effective. If you haven't looked into that, or want more information on bots to kind of automate my possibly policy typing and things like that, there are some things out there that need some human intervention for sure, but you can automate that. But this is what the future is going to look like when it comes to having an actual AI bot complete tasks for you. And the cool thing about these operators are they're trained on exactly what you want them to do. It doesn't do anything outside of that. But the fact that they can literally go out into the world and complete these digital tasks for you and then just check that box is absolutely incredible. So just for fun, go check out ChatGPT Operator, maybe have it order a meal for you to be delivered to your family at a certain time, and then watch it work. It's really incredible. And so there's lots of things coming down the pike, but AI agency is definitely one of those things that will be a game changer, and I think is going to be talked about a lot in 2025. So I just started my sentence with so. Yudli is going to tell me I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. To wrap up, thank you so much for being a part of this 4-part series. As you know, you can either go to this QR code and scroll right down to the bottom, and there is a link to AIempoweredTitleAgent.com, or you can head to AIempoweredTitleAgent.com, and the password that has been updated recently is SGP 2025. And for those of you curious, that is Strategic Growth Program, of which Ashley and I are excited to be a part. Thank you all so much for being there. Don't forget to check out the website. It is evolving constantly with lots of testimonials, lots of how-to guides, and lots of links to some of our favorite AI tools. And again, we would love to hear from you. What are you guys playing around with in your office and finding most effective? A rising tide absolutely raises all ships, and we are all in this together, and we're trying to navigate this every day. It's changing, but we're excited to be navigating it alongside you. Thank you all so much for being a part of this series. We're excited about what's to come. Ashley, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for bringing the heat with a couple awesome products today. If anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to your rep or to us. That said, have a great rest of your Thursday. We're honored to be a part of your team and appreciate your support of the FNF family of companies. Bill, good to see you. Thank you for being here as well. We'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks. See you,
Thanks,
Ashley.
everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.